Oh man, what's going on, Will?
Not much. Not much at all.
Do you want to know what we're talking about today in our video?
What are we talking
Well, I've got some Trigger Devils right here. We're talking about the product today because we actually had a video request. The request was to talk about adjusting to Trigger Devils.
about?
Why? Basically, what does it take to adjust to these things, and why is it worth it? Guess what I forgot to do? Turn on the light. Will's gonna
Let me
hit it
get
for
that.
me.
Did I do it?
Go a
Oh,
little bit brighter.
Yeah,
We need more on this face. Holy,
That is very
that
bright.
is so bright.
Do you want some sunglasses?
No, I'm good. Are you busy right now? Are you in the middle of something?
I was connecting emails.
Hold off on that. Come take a seat right here. I've been distracting this guy all day. I'm sorry, dude.
Sure.
Every I'm
I'm
sure
gonna use sunglasses.
I'm sure it's terrible working with me.
It's awful. I can't get any actual work done because of all the other work we have to do.
We got a lot going on, but we got to make videos for you guys. So, demo controller from PAX East.
Probably riddled with diseases.
Hopefully it doesn't. Yeah, hopefully it's not diseased. So the request is, what does it take to get used to these? Because it is a change to the trigger. I mean, if someone's been gaming with this trigger for the past, how many years has PS4 been out?
3 or 4.
3 years, right? To suddenly make like this giant change to their trigger is kind of a big deal, and that can be a blocker for people getting involved with Trigger Devils. Do you think it is your true impression that when you tried Trigger Devils, it was like, whoa, like this is going to take a long time to get used to?
I didn't feel like it was going to take a long time, but it definitely feels like a difference. I think majority of people are used to having to not necessarily mash on the R2 or L2, but it takes a decent push. Trigger Devils take such a light feather touch that I think that's one of the main things of getting used to is you don't have to press really at all.
Yeah, so I agree with that. I would say, like, if I'm thinking about buying a Scuff or Control Freaks or anything else that's changing my setup, except for headphones, I can adjust to those really quickly. But anything changing my controller, it's generally like, all right, I'm going to be crap at these games for like at least 48 hours. And it kind of sucks to be like, yeah, I'm going to get like worse, but I have to do that in order to get better. Especially, so Control Freaks, that's going to be changing your aim, like kind of this omnidirectional adjustment on your thumb. And then, of course, the paddles on the back, that's changing your brain as to like what fingers, it's not changing your brain, but it's changing the way, like what fingers you push to get certain actions to happen. So
that
takes a long time. I don't think it takes Trigger Devils that, I mean, it's going to feel a little different on your finger, but you're still using the same finger for the same action, and you're still doing the same direction. You know what I mean? It's not like it's omnidirectional with Control Freaks either.
It's just
like
a little bigger.
Yeah, so I genuinely don't think that these take all that long to get used to.
No.
That's my particular opinion.
No, doesn't take long at all.
Even some like YouTubers and stuff, when they try them, they're so natural that usually they don't realize how good they are until they take them off. Like,
Right,
they get
you
used
can
to-
definitely tell the difference.
Right, so if you're wondering if it's going to mess your finger up, it really shouldn't mess it up. You're definitely going to feel a difference, and it might take a little while for that to feel like a natural trigger again, like it's part of the controller. But it's not going to like make you worse for any period of time. I really don't think.
Definitely
At all.
You'll be better
Yeah.
instantly.
Don't be so skeptical, people. And then I guess the other question that I had was, is it worth even the small amount that's going to change your setup? Maybe it does mess up a few people, throws them off. Is it worth it?
Yes, it is, without a doubt.
We obviously think so, right? Because we wouldn't even be here if it wasn't worth it. But let's talk about why it's worth it. This is a full-on Trigger Devils commercial.
Value propositions.
What's our value propositions? So I've been selling Trigger Devils with several different value props lately beyond the trigger stop. You guys know what the trigger stop is. We measured it out. Gamers are getting about 30 bullets more shot per minute with the Trigger Devil trigger stops. Cool. You guys probably know about the rocker pad at this point. Hopefully a lot of you guys are making good use of the rocker pad. I play Overwatch. I use it a ton with all the different heroes. We got videos on that. Will throw a card up right now for my Tracer. No, actually, it's not the Tracer one. It's the other one. It's the other like Overwatch tips.
I think it goes up somewhere
Somewhere
on the top
over
right.
here. Why not throw up the Tracer one too?
Can we add cards that quickly?
Yeah, we can do them back to back. Anyway, hope you guys are making use of the rocker pad. If you guys aren't familiar with that, we'll link exclusive Aces video in the description. He goes over in detail what the rocker pad's all about.
Such detail.
Let's get into the deeper dives of why it's worth messing your setup, even in a small amount. Why it's worth messing it up. So, ergonomics. Let's talk ergonomics.
In general, these are just far more comfy than the standard L2R2 that come on the controller.
Yes. So I actually worked with an ergonomist before.
Is that what they're called? Ergonomist?
They're called
I never knew
ergonomists.
that word.
I didn't know what that was either, actually, until I had to work with one.
It's good to know.
One of my advisors was like, "Yeah, you should go work with an ergonomist."
It just doesn't sound right, but probably because I've never heard it before.
All the ergonomists watching this are like, "You don't sound right, Will."
No, I don't. Listen to me.
So anyway, we talked about this, and there's like I think 3 different like classifications that make something ergonomic. But the thing that we hit on the head with Trigger Devils is something called reduce, which is like the trigger stops reducing the movement, and the rocker pad's reducing the amount that your finger needs to move back and forth between the 2 top buttons. All of that reduction is just basically automatically ergonomic, because the less you have to move your finger, the better it is for the health of the tendons in your finger, essentially. So when I'm talking like pro players and competitive players, I mention that because they're playing for so long that you can see when pro players are playing, like as soon as like a heavy match is over and they like either win or lose, they're like shaking their hands out because they're so freaking tense. That's going to help with that little kind of crazy finger fatigue. And also if you use like a semi-automatic gun in Call of Duty, I know this is true, you probably have gone through this experience as well. Sorry, it's kind of cold down here, so we're like it's freaking cold down here right now, so that's why we're like all freaking... Anyway, if you use a semi-automatic gun, like I can only do that for about 45 minutes before my finger starts slowing down. And I know it is, and I have to switch off that class to a different class. So burst rifles and single shot rifles, I really am very limited how long of duration I can use those classes in Call of Duty. That problem just basically melts away when you're using this because it's easier to do. It is easier to pull the trigger, so you can go for hours and hours and hours and not stop and not slow down. And you can also see that in exclusive Aces review that his consistency of his shot is better for that same reason. Finally, the last reason why this is like super, actually there's 2 more.
2 more?
Yeah, we got a lot of value into a tiny little product, guys. When people say, oh, it's just a little piece of plastic, we're like, you don't even know what we did, like what we have put into this.
Just insulted me.
So insulted. No, a lot of people say that, but you know, they how could they possibly know all of like the love that we've put into this thing?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? 2 more things. The Trigger Devil, the upward angle is part of our patent as well. We originally did this because it's like more of like a gun. It looks cool, first of all, but it's like more of a gun trigger. I thought that felt better on my finger, but during the patenting process, we actually discovered that it's I think a Class A lever, and I don't remember. There's a couple different classes of levers.
We'll just go with it. Class A lever.
Yeah. So Class A lever. Call me out in the comments below if I'm wrong about the type of lever this is, because I should probably know. But essentially, it's making the spring inside the trigger. So there's a spring inside here that pops the trigger back up, makes it return to its resting point. When you put a lever on it, it makes the resistance of that spring softer on your finger. So again, it's reducing the resistance. Easier to pull the trigger. That's going to make it faster, and you're going to be able to pull and game longer. And then the final thing, the final reason why this is important.
Tell me about it.
Your trigger's going to break less often.
I know that. I know that feeling. I have to replace my controller because we've had them since, I don't want to say since launch, but for a few years now, and I just started using those 6 months ago, I have to replace my controller because the R2 button, basically you have to pull it all the way down now to actually get it to work. But with Trigger Devils on there, it's so much softer on the R2 and L2 in general because you're not using it fully. That your controller's not going to wear out anywhere near as fast.
And should it break, first of all, contact us at support@triggerdevil.com if you ever have any issues. But should your Trigger Devil break, well, guess what? Your controller's still fine. Your controller's like the whole thing isn't ruined. And if you have an expensive controller, like the Pro controllers, a Scuff or Cinch or otherwise, that controller's still fine. And you just contact support@triggerdevil.com. We'll replace them for you, and then you're good, and then everything's good again. How is that not worth it?
It's
How is
totally
it
worth
possible that's not worth it? That is worth going through the hour of adjusting, if even that.
I've put in months of my life into this company just for some free Trigger Devils.
I pay him by Trigger
He
Devils.
does. I have so many at my house.
I pay him with money.
Cold hard cash.
That's how this relationship works now.
Nothing more than that.
All right, now that I'm done, freaking getting tilted over this,
Cool.
I think we're good. I think we're all good. You guys get it.
Get some Trigger Devils, you'll be all good.
Let's talk about. You know, something I wanted to mention. I'll mention it I'll mention it in a different vlog. I'm not going to bring that up.
Well, now. Oh, now people.
Because I haven't talked about that in a while.
It's
Yeah.
been a while.
Okie doke. I think we're done. So leave a like, subscribe to the channel, binge watch all of our other videos, bell us.
Yeah. Watch a playlist.
Double
do
subscribe.
something.
Goodbye.
Just knock your phone over.
I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, subscribe to the channel. In fact, if I can make my cat meow right now, you have to click the subscribe button. Okay, deal? You agreed, so now you have to subscribe. We'll wait. Oh, you're not done, are you? Subscribe.